Well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for those speaking today and also our inductees for joining. So this will be recorded. So if you can keep your mics muted while speakers are speaking, that would be appreciated. But without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Chris Adams. I'm the current president of TAICEP, and this is the 2024 TAICEP Hall of Acclaim induction ceremony. So for those of you not aware, our Hall of Acclaim serves to really honor the lifetime achievements of credential evaluators in our field who have really made a significant impact on the field and to really each of us as we've gone through our careers. This is our way of just recognizing those efforts throughout the years and making sure that's preserved for posterity. So the result of this will be a dedicated space on our website, and each inductee will showcase presentations, publications, their biographies, and other contributions they've made to the field. And before we get started, we would like to recognize those from the past. So this is our wonderfully growing group of past inductees. A lot of familiar faces on here, some of which will be speaking to others in the field. So just wanted to recognize again all these amazing people and their contributions to the field. Right. So as we get started, kind of the run of the program, I will come in and introduce each of my colleagues who will be in turn introducing the inductee. And then we will ask each inductee to, if they're present, to share a few words, let us know about their history, what they've contributed, what this means. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Nancy Katz.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nancy Katz. I'm Director of Evaluations at Evaluation Service Incorporated in Chicago, Illinois. I am here to introduce Jasmine Saidi Kunert, who I have known for a very long time, and I'm happy to say that. She has been involved in the field of credential evaluation since 1982. She in her career, Jasmine has made notable contributions to key professional associations, including NAFSA, ACRO, as well as TAICEP. She has been appointed in the past as chair of, or recent 2017 as chair of the ACRO's International Education Standards Council, the IESC, which oversees part of the ACRO Edge database. In 2023, she was honored with the prestigious National Award of Excellence in the International Education from ACRO. She began her professional credential career at International Education Research Foundation in 1982 till 1994, being an evaluator as well as the executive director. In 1994, she established and founded the Academic Credentials Evaluation Institute in Beverly Hills, California, and she is still president and CEO. In addition, she is co-founder of the Association of International Credential Evaluators and Association of Evaluation Services. She is the president and on the board of directors. In addition, she has been involved in Region 12 of NAFSA in various positions, as well as National NAFSA as chair of the ADSEC committee. For those of you who are not familiar with ADSEC, that was the admissions section of NAFSA when we had an admissions section of NAFSA, and which is how TAICEP kind of came to be. She was chair of the ADSEC section as well. She has presented at national, regional, and international sessions as well throughout her career. In addition, she has over 7 pages of presentations, including podcasts, webinars, interviews, presentations, symposium that she has presented at and organized. She was also part of the ACRO National Conference organization for ACRO in 2019. In addition, she has been involved in various publications, numerous publications, including a profile of Palestine recently for the ACRO Edge database, as well as various profiles on Iran. She's an expert on Iran. She's written chapters on diploma mills and fake degrees, publications on Senegal, part of the PEER, for those of you who remember what PEER is, which was a joint publications of ACRO and NAFSA. She was part of the team for Hong Kong, for the United Kingdom, for Latin America as well. She has been provided information for the index, the country index, published by IRF, and I could go on and on and on about her various publications. She has been, to many of us, a mentor in, various areas of our professional career, and her expertise in so many different areas as well. The bottom line is Jasmine is a really good person and wonderful and helpful and knowledgeable colleague that many of us are so pleased that she has been in our profession for so many years, and that we appreciate her being part of this association. And I applaud her today in her achievement and her acclaim. Thank you very much, Jasmine. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you. I hope you're all awake, because this really kind of shows that I grew up in this field, I think from cradle to now. Thank you very much, Nancy. First, I want to just give you a big hug for nominating me, and also big thanks to the review committee and TAICEP's board of directors for approving this induction. I'm just really honored to be recognized and to be here with all of you whom I consider friends, colleagues, and many mentors I am seeing here today. I'd love to just give some recognition to the people who have helped me get to this point in life. And I think the first really goes to my parents, who are no longer here with us today, but they have really provided me with the sort of the strength and resilience that one needs to not only kind of grow up in a world where it's constantly changing, but also kind of just to be able to navigate operating a business, collaborations. All of these are skill sets that you learn, the ethics and the good practices. They're instilled in you by your family. And I have to also give a big shout out to my mother up there in the skies. She's the one who introduced me to this world of international education at a very young age. I think I was around 10 years old. She was the executive director of Amidist in Iran, and she asked me to help organize her library of US catalogs, all the college catalogs. So that was kind of my first foray into international education. And that's where I also had kind of the impetus and the dream that I wanted to study here in the United States. So it started at a very young age. Also a big thanks to my husband, Michael, who's been by my side for the past 20 plus years, and my best cheerleader. And my brother, Alan, I think he's here today. He's my business partner. Not just a brother, but a fantastic business mind, without whose collaboration and dedication ACI would not be here. So we're now celebrating 30 years. And also my team, the best of the best evaluators, the best of the best administrative team. My right-hand, left-hand person, Yoli Moreno. I'm not sure if she's here with us today, but she keeps me on the right path, because I can sometimes segue. And it's nice to have a team that kind of keeps you focused. And again, a big shout out to my colleagues here at TAICEP, my colleagues who serve with me on the IESC. And also my associates who are members of the Association for International Credential Evaluators. I am forever grateful to all my comrades in arms. We're here together and we have done wonderful work together, and I hope to continue working with all of you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Nancy, and congrats, Jasmine, on your induction. All right, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Bernard Ramos, who will be introducing Kenneth Warren.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Nancy. Congratulations, Jasmine. Hello, everyone. Morning from Chicago. My name is Bernard. I'm the Vice President at Educational Perspectives. So I'm here to nominate. It's an honor to nominate Ken Warren for induction into the TAICEP Hall of Acclaim. I've had the privilege of knowing Ken throughout my entire career in credential evaluation, and I can confidently say that much of the knowledge and skills I've developed in this field can be traced directly back to his guidance. Ken is, without a doubt, one of the most intelligent, insightful, and witty individuals I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. His knack for clever comebacks, often infused in his deep mastery of culture, adds a unique charm to his personality. His sayings, often framed as proverbs in English or other languages, tend to elicit knowing nods, bemused head shakes, or the occasional facepalm from those lucky enough to hear them. But Ken's story is far more than just wit and intellect. It's one of resilience, hard work, and a remarkable range of life experiences. From performing as an opera singer to a career in banking, his adventures are as diverse as they are inspiring. Ken has never run out of stories, and his hilarious encounters only add to his depth of character. As an evaluator, Ken possesses an extraordinary ability to challenge conventional thinking, pushing those around him to see beyond the surface and explore new perspectives. This talent is rooted in his vast professional experience, which includes pivotal roles at ECE and WES. Drawing from this foundation, Ken went on to establish Educational Perspectives, a nonprofit credential evaluation organization, which he built from the ground up. Starting a new organization in a highly competitive industry is no small feat. Ken faced these challenges head on, navigating the many obstacles of launching a business in a crowded market while also shouldering the risks of creating a nonprofit. Yet, despite these hurdles, Ken's vision and perseverance turned Educational Perspectives into not just a company, but a beacon of opportunity. Through his leadership, Ken has created life-changing opportunities for countless individuals. His efforts have not only impacted the families supported through staffing, but have also transformed the careers of others. Ken's work has opened doors for many, introducing them to the world of international education and enabling them to grow, lead, and thrive in ways they might never have imagined. Ken's commitment to unburdening individuals, especially those seeking to rebuild their lives, is especially meaningful in today's world. His strong belief in the importance of recognizing what individuals have achieved so far has allowed countless people to get back on their feet and move forward. Thanks to his work and through Educational Perspectives, individuals have achieved professional growth, secured promotions, gained admission to academic programs, and obtained the licenses necessary to advance their careers. At the core of Ken's incredible journey is his deep commitment to honoring the legacy of his late partner, Tim, whose inspiration led to the founding of Educational Perspectives. Through his dedication to expanding opportunities in international education, Ken, through Educational Perspectives, has transformed lives and ensured that vision lives on in a profound and impactful way. Ken, congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Your work has touched many, and your influence will continue to shape our field for years to come. Thank you for everything you've done to elevate credential evaluation.
Wow, thank you, Bernard. That's quite a that's quite an outline of my career. I thank you for the nomination, and thank you also to the board of directors and the committee who have approved my nomination for this award. It is really an honor. I don't know what I can say, to add to anything that Bernard has added other than that. I owe a lot to the mentors that I've had over my career. I started in credential evaluation relatively late after doing a plethora of other jobs prior to coming to this field. And there have been people who've really influenced me throughout this whole thing, throughout this whole career. Jim Fry, Margaret Schatzman, Ann Koenig, who trained me on credential evaluation, people like Jessica Stannard from the Nuffic and Gloria Nathanson, all people who've been terrific mentors and colleagues throughout my career. I appreciate this honor, and it is really, affects me quite deeply. So thank you very much to all of you who've been such an important part of my life.
Again, congrats, Ken. It's well deserved. And thanks, Bernard, for the introduction. All right, now we'll move on to Kate Freeman and Meg Wigger to introduce Emily Say.
Thanks, Chris. I'll start us off. My name is Meg Wenger. I'm the Senior Director of Information and Knowledge at ECE. I'm so pleased to be able to, along with Kate, say a few words about Emily. Many of you know her, many of you have worked for her, and you will know that she is tireless in her work to move the profession of credential evaluation forward. Every time a volunteer is needed, Emily raises her hand and gets to work. Not only is she indefatigable herself, but she has a gift for getting others on board and bringing out the best in everyone she works with. In addition to being a TAICEP leader, Emily has also served on NASA committees as well as ACRO's International Education Standards Council. Aside from her professional activities, she is an exceptional evaluator and has written papers, trained other evaluators, given numerous conference presentations, and contributed to many best practices documents. I would also add that I have never seen her treat anyone with anything less than the utmost kindness and respect. And that's one of the things I appreciate most about her. She is also a lot of fun. If you ever need, let's just say, an eclipse sighting organized, she is the person to help with that, or a dinner or any kind of get together. She's just so much fun to be with and just such a pleasure to work with. I've had the honor of working with her for probably about 20 years. And I have served with her on so many committees and presented with her and trained with her. And I just cannot think of anyone more deserving to be recognized in TAICEP's Hall of Acclaim. Kate?
Well, Emily, first of all, I'm Kate Freeman, and I'm a senior credentials evaluator at the evaluation company, formerly known as Spantran, the evaluation company. I first met Emily about 15 years ago when I can't remember my exact title, but I was the production manager, let's say, of the newsletter of the NAFSA recruitment, admission and placement knowledge community. And Emily was one of the people we could always count on to give us articles and feedback on that newsletter. But since then, I've had the pleasure of being a co-presenter at a variety of conferences with Emily. And I think including nearly every TAICEP conference we've been co-presenters. She is the best session presenter wrangler. She can get reminding everybody what they need to do, and gently, when you know that she really, what I would say, but Emily knows how to say it in the most respectful and nice way to get people to do things. She always finds us the best restaurants to eat and meet before a session. And she's just a great person. She can tell you about our ill-fated trip to try to get to Pompeii. It was all my fault because I bought the wrong train tickets. And I had the pleasure of roaming around Naples with Emily. This was after the TAICEP conference in Rome. We weren't in the greatest neighborhood. We just wanted to eat something because we were just so hungry. But that will always be a fun memory I have of you, Emily. So everything that Megan and I put on this slide is just at the tip of the iceberg of things that Emily has done. So there's just too many to capture here. But so Emily, congratulations on this well-deserved honor, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Meg and Kate. You will find later in their ceremony that I also nominated Karen Lucas, a mentor of mine. So when I received Robert Prather's email about myself being an inductee, I thought it was an error. And I started typing a response to him indicating that he'd been working too hard and must be tired. Either that or he just needs to get his eyesight checked. But then I paused, went back, read his email, and saw his reference to Meg and Kate. So I thunk a little harder and realized, oh, this could be a real thing. I'm just very grateful. No one of us ever grew up saying, I want to be a credentials evaluator. At least I don't believe so. So I'm thankful that this profession found me and that I found this community with all of you. I'm grateful to be in a profession that I feel passionately about, one that celebrates people, education, culture, history, and opportunity and access. I am also honored to be in this cohort. Credentials evaluation is not always easy work, and it is regularly misunderstood work. So from the get-go, we're like an endangered species. But luckily, we cheer each other on and want each other to succeed. We're fortunate to have this giant support group in this amazing profession. So thank you.
Congrats, Emily. And thank you, Meg and Kate, for the introduction. All right, now we'll turn it over to Matthew Dimmers.
Hello. I'm very pleased today to introduce you to my esteemed colleague, Michel Bédard. Michel Bédard studied at the University de Montréal in Quebec, Canada, where he got a bachelor and a master's degree in economics. He joined the Quebec Public Service in 1985, but entered the Provincial Ministry of Immigration in 1989. His first position as immigration officer was in the city of Nicosia in Cyprus, where he stayed until 1991. There he interviewed immigration candidates, many Lebanese couples wishing to leave the country in the civil war context, in order to decide if they should be accepted or refused to immigrate in Quebec based on many criteria, on fruitful documents, and on a credible life story. This experience opened the way to do the same job in Paris, in France, for 4 more years and acquire an undeniable expertise in academic credential verification. In 1995, in a feverish political context and attracted by a brand new database named ATIM, he returned to Montreal, where he began what will be known as his 29-year-long ride as a credential evaluator and analyst. During his career, Michel did every possible role, even testifying in court for the ministry. He was instrumental in the creation of a new system-based and Lisbon academic credential report, compliant report, with a comparison of foreign study program to a similar one in Quebec, which helped many labor market stakeholders. He actively promoted the use of many then new tools like Internet Archive. He's next to me. We are in the same room. And the video spectral comparator, but he also remembered to his new millennial co-workers that some books still exist on our shelves to understand some pre-Bologna degrees. Michel was active on the Canadian scene, contributing in the making of a guide of good practice, evaluation practices, which was integrated in 2012 to a national framework. He trained several hundred colleagues and Canadian admission agents, working in regulatory bodies and educational institutions on subjects like methodology and recognition in academic credential assessment, on document authentication, and on many French-speaking African countries, from which a large part of the immigration originates in Quebec. He understood complex educational systems, documented them, and shared his knowledge through NAFSA, Acclaim, and TAICEP publications and workshop, or simply through the INICNARIC exchange list, or privately with some other Canadian and foreign colleagues. Before letting him speak, to conclude, I must say that with or without his daily doses of caffeine, as you can see, a good day at work starts with at least 4 cups. He's someone who cares about others. He's always available to support his colleagues. He's also a very respected expert, a passionate debater, which really loves his domain, and overall, he's a really great person who deserves this tribute today. Merci bien, Michel. De rien bien.
Well, now I'm blushing. Well, thank you so much. It's such a great honor to be nominated and even inducted with such great colleagues. If I had a word to say about my 30 years as a credential evaluator, the word I would choose is wonder. Now, of course, it wasn't always a smooth ride in a difficult moment, but I remember starting this job 30 years ago, almost, and the sense of wonder that came with my training. And at last, I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. This sense of wonder came often. I remember my first training session with ECE with Ken Warren, and it was wonderful to realize that I'm not alone. We're not alone in this field. There's other people doing that great job with us. Then my first Acclaim meeting in '98. That was when a colleague from ICWAS asked me, what was my career plan? And I remember, career plan, I never had any, but it all came to me in a second. I thought I would be Mr. French-speaking Africa. I was also thinking that being alone in the field, it wasn't too difficult to be among the top ones in the field. Went to '98 to Charlotte, met other evaluators again, and then life happened, and I wasn't able to go as often as I wanted to all those wonderful conferences. Went to TAICEP in 2008 and 18, sorry, and I met again those people that I haven't seen for 10 years. Now I'm retiring soon, and having all those great memories from people in the field. I'm proud of what I've done, but I have regrets as well. And the greatest of my regrets is not having been able to give as much, to give back as much as I received to you guys. So, final word comes to mind. Thanks.
Congratulations, Michelle, and thank you for all your contributions. And thank you, Matthew, for the introduction. All right, now we'll turn it over to Bill Paver.
Good morning. I'm here to talk about Cliff Sjogren, but I'm really here to talk about an entire generation of people who I think really constructed the field. If you look back, the first book that was done in our field was in 1955, and it was done by a group of people within Acclaim. And it was followed by books like Steve Fisher's UK book and other books. But that first generation of young people, and at that time they were all young people, and I'm just going to mention some of their names now. Sandy Huntley, Sandy Jameson, who was with College Board, Leo Sweeney, who did the seminal book on India. Much of our current work and knowledge about India comes from Leo's 2 years in India on a Fulbright scholarship. Steve Fisher, Jim Fry, of course, who was at that time sort of the youngster of the group, Gene Oliver, Jim Hawes, Stan Berry. Now, of these people, many have been recognized, but Stan is now 96 years old. He's living in Cadillac, Michigan. He's become the unofficial historian for that part of Michigan. But he had quite a distinguished career, and he also helped many of my colleagues, people my age, who are 20, 30 years younger than Cliff is, get started in their careers, and encourage them by putting them on committees, showing them how the work was done, et cetera. One of the real important things that I think Cliff did, and all those other people that I just mentioned, is they developed really the methodology that's used to evaluate credentials coming from outside of the United States. In my 40 plus years of doing this, much of the methodology that they employed is still employed in our field. And I think that's a terrific contribution. Now, a little bit about Cliff, and then a little bit about his resume, and then I'm going to close with something that Stan Berry wrote about him. Cliff started at Western Michigan and after a few years, was moved to the University of Michigan as assistant director and succeeded a legendary guy there, Cliff Berman, as the director of admissions at the University of Michigan for many years. He was one of the people who founded, Nancy Katz mentioned, ADSEC. ADSEC used to comprise 25% of NAFSA. The ADSEC chair sat on the board. It was a really important part of NASA in the 70s and 80s. Many of the senior people in the field have served as ADSEC chair. You notice that Jasmine was one of them. But Cliff was one of the people who really basically set that up. He also was on the first JCAL workshop, Joint Committee on Workshops, which became PEER. In the day, there were only two ways really to publish in the field. And we might get out 2 or 3 books a year. And one was JCAL and PEER, and the other was the World Education Series of ACRO. Cliff was instrumental in developing both of those. I was at the University of Texas for 25 years, and I had a lot of interactions with Cliff, not only on the international side, but on the admission side of things. And he was, I would say, arguably, he was almost the most important admissions director in the United States at the time, with a wide range of duties. When he retired from Michigan, he came out of retirement to go to USC and ran the program at USC. He was sort of in retirement again when ACRO had some kerfuffles, and he came and took over ACRO as executive director, steadied the ship, and really made a lot of contributions. He was also a vice president of ACRO and the president of ACRO. So he's got a very distinguished career. He wrote a book on Norway. He was very close to the people of the Norwegian government. I can remember that at NAFSA and ACRO, the Norwegian government's, the ministry would show up for, basically all of our meetings. And he's a wonderful guy to know. And, as Jim Fry will tell you, he was a great guy to have at a conference, to go to dinner with, or have a drink with, or have fun with. So I'm going to write you something that Stan Berry wrote. I worked for Stan at Washington State University when I was first starting out, and he was a good friend and a mentor. But he said this, and I agree. A listing of Cliff's accomplishments occupies pages and pages, but these are not the most important measures of Cliff's true value. Far more important is the quality of the man, his honesty, his unwillingness to compromise his principles, his humanitarian empathy with all people, his endless good nature, his ready smile, and his down-to-earth style make him one of the fine human beings of the world. We're all proud to claim him as a friend, especially those of us who have been able to proudly count on him as a colleague. So he's not with us today because he's 96 years old, and I think we can excuse people at that age from Zoom meetings. But if anybody else would like to say something about him, I would welcome that. Okay, nobody? All right.
Chris,
Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
like just to echo what Bill said, Cliff was one of the gurus for all of us, and the most important thing, I think, was he made all of us feel like we were competent to get in and help. It was very hard as a young, self-trained evaluator like Jim Haas and me, especially, but others as well, to rub elbows with people like Cliff and feel that we were part of the group.
Thank you to both Bill and Jim. And congratulations, Cliff, where you're at. All right, so we'll turn it over to Sabine and Gunnar for the next inductee.
Gunnar, you gonna start? Okay, my name is Sabine and I've been working with Maxine since 2016. First like part-time for the company and now full-time learning as a new evaluator under her mentorship. So I'm extremely honored to be able to introduce Maxine McCarty as a nominee who unfortunately can't be with us today, but to honor her 6 decades of dedication to this field. She has profoundly shaped the field of international credential evaluation. Over 6 decades of dedication, Gunnar is going to tell us a little more about the individual accomplishments. She, in a world that is more and more interconnected, it's a very important task to understand and evaluate those international credentials. And Maxine has spent 60 years helping to ensure that that educational achievements from across the globe are understood and respected and recognized. And she's been, in all of her career, in all the different positions she has had, a bridge builder. She was connecting students to opportunities at universities, employers to talent, and institutions to a shared understanding of education systems worldwide. And in detail, Gunnar? Do we have Gunnar?
He may be having mic issues or may have disconnected.
Okay.
So unless
No
he
worries.
reconnects, anything else to add, Sabine?
I'll keep going.
Okay, yeah.
I just wanted to mention a little bit of the achievements of Maxine. She was co-editor of the New Country Index, Volume 1, contributed to the educational systems of France, Haiti, Israel, Thailand, the United States. She was co-author and contributor to many publications by Acclaim, ECE, and others. She demonstrated her commitment to international credential evaluation by preparing policy manuals, by advising on policy decisions during her time at IERF and the University of Maryland. And you could say, as a mentor, she has inspired and guided Gunnar, who's been working with her for probably 2 decades.
Yes.
Alongside her. There he is. You
Yeah.
want to keep going?
Thank you. I got a computer glitch, so I got booted off the meeting. So just when I was about to do the introduction for Maxine. So, but as Sabine said, I've been working with Maxine since 2002, on and off, and for the past couple of years, as together at the Arizona International Credential Evaluators, and she has been my mentor since I started in this field. And when we were together at IRF, we shared a fascination for stinky cheese and fish to our co-workers this May, I believe. She was not only a great mentor, but she was also into cooking and hosting. Yeah. All right. So I don't know if have you brought up her achievements, Sabine, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
All right. So presently, Maxine, at the tender age of 28, is our Director of Evaluation Policy at Arizona International Credential Evaluators, where she continues, after all these decades of service in the field, to support the international foreign credential evaluation community. But I think her greatest legacy is the lives that she has touched. And Gunnar and I are just two of many professionals who grew and continue to grow under her mentorship. And we're just two of so many individuals who have had and still have the privilege of working with Maxine. So this nomination is a thank you for being a cornerstone, an inspiration, and the heart, soul, and bones of international credential evaluation.
I'd like to add that Maxine holds the world record for the longest career in credential evaluation. I don't think anybody in any country in the world is going to get 60 or more years of service in the field. And I think her longevity is not because she sticks around. Her longevity is because she works and teaches very well.
And
Thank you, Jim.
And still willing to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Sabine and Gunnar, for the introduction. Thank you, Jim, for your words. And congratulations, Maxine, in absentia. Up next will be Shamira Madani, introducing Becca.
Good morning, everyone, and congratulations. As I've been listening to all these accolades, it's pretty amazing in terms of this particular field. So my name is Shamira Madhani. I am the Managing Director of World Education Services here in Canada. I'm delighted today to honor Becca Tewartkaladze as is inducted into the TAICEP Hall of Acclaim. I first met Becca when I joined World Education Services in July 2018. All of you are familiar already with World Education Services, where we're a social enterprise and we support educational, economic, and social inclusion of immigrants. And we want to make sure that everybody who touches us, the credentials are recognized. What's important about Becca here is that he has touched both sides of the work that we do at World Education Services. The credential evaluation component, where he is going to be recognized, and I'll give you more information, but also about the social impact side. He's been with us for 22 years, and he's dedicated his career to helping immigrants. Becca works both with his head in terms of, the important work in credential evaluation and the impact he has had in Canada that I'll talk about in a few minutes, but also with heart. He's making sure that every individual who he touches or organizations that he works with, that they touch, that they open doors for those individuals who are coming to their chosen country to basically contribute. Becca is known around the world as an expert in international education systems and the recognition of international academic credentials. But here in Canada, he's got a huge footprint, because I know that from the time that I came here and as a member of the Alliance of Credential Evaluation and a chair, that people come to Becca in terms of just appreciating, understanding how things work, and an expert in different countries. He's been active on various high-profile Canadian and international committees. So I'll just give you some. One that all of you already know is most recently, he was the elected chair of the Association for International Credential Evaluation Professionals, TAICEP, and it was a very successful conference. He's a current member of the board of directors at the Groningen Declaration Network, and is contributing to the whole conversation around digital student data portability and learning recognition globally. Also, he was appointed as a member of the expert advisory panel of the Canadian Alliance of Physiotherapist Regulators, which was tasked to really reimagine the whole issue of academic credentials and competency assessment. And he was a member of the OECD Forum Engagement Group Future of Work, which again focused on empowering people and shaping policy conversations. I could go on and on. The most important thing about Becca is that he is somebody who is an expert, a go-to person, a huge footprint here in Canada. He works with our licensing bodies, he works with our post-secondary institutions, he works with settlement agencies, and a very, very critical member of the Alliance. Just most people may not know this, but he worked very closely with our Ministry of Immigration and played a key role in developing what's called the Express Entry System or the point system, which is currently being used as a mechanism to bring highly skilled immigrants in. And he worked on the academic component. Becca brings his dedication and passion for helping newcomers every day to WES. He's willing to help anybody who phones him, including me, when I first came into this field, and understanding the nuances of credential recognition and key trends around the world. We're very fortunate to have Becca with us at WES, and anybody who's had the pleasure of working with Becca knows how conscientious and humble he is. So Becca, on behalf of your colleagues here and at WES, I want to congratulate you on the well-deserved recognition for the incredible work that you do. And I know that you'll continue to work really hard to make an impact on the lives of immigrants around the world by helping them to start a new life. So congratulations. And Becca, if you want to say a few words, over to you.
Thank you, Shamira. Thank you so much. This definitely is something that touches my heart and recognizes my career. Thank you. It means a lot, Shamira, and how you presented my journey and my track record. I also want to thank the TAICEP board for this incredible honor and being inducted with some of the individuals who we just inducted. It's definitely a proud moment. As I was coming up through credential evaluation, those were the names and some of the faces that I see in front of me. Those were the names and those were the individuals that we looked up to and we listened to when we went to the conferences and read their books. Also, I think this recognition for me is a reflection of the hard work we as community have done, and there's definitely more to do to continue to open doors. We at WES and in our community as credential evaluators, qualification recognition around the world, we do believe that our work changes people's lives and we are an enabler. And I think there's more to do. Some of our conversations, just at the recent TAICEP conference, continues to drive my drive in a way to be able to meet those challenges, to help more people and to open more doors. So thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
And thank you, Becca, for everything you've contributed and will continue to, which I know you will. And thank you, Shamira, for introducing Becca for us. All right, now we'll turn it over. And Emily, it was not a mistake. You're both an inductee and a presenter. So if you'd like to tell us a bit about Karen Lucas.
Thanks, Chris. I was very lucky to have received my training and foundation in credentials evaluation at IUF, where I spent much of my professional career prior to my current position at CGFNS. What most people may not have known is that Karen Lucas served as acting executive director for several weeks at IUF. Despite that short period, it was formative for me. At that time, I was still a baby evaluator, less than a year into the job, and I was beginning to take on cases from the German educational system. I had to respond to a few appeals, and Karen's guidance made an impact on me as I learned how to think through the rationale of an equivalency statement and articulate it. That in and of itself was a feat, and the experience of learning how to articulate and argue a case from her gave me confidence. Beforehand, I was learning countries whose educational systems were closely aligned with that of the US. So prior to Germany, any appeals were straightforward. It was not until my interactions with Karen that I truly grasped the importance of understanding how a credential fits into the host educational system at the time of study, its legal status there, and what it gives holders access to. To this day, I'm guided by the principles she instilled in me. Although her period as executive director was temporary, I was still fortunate to benefit from her influence afterwards, both directly and indirectly. Till this day, I am obsessed with her 2002 publication, The Educational System of the Federal Republic of Germany, a guide for evaluating educational credentials. It was for her research for this publication that she also received the Seppmeyer grant from IERF. So I may appear biased. However, as far as publications go on country-specific educational systems, this book is by far my favorite resource. It is rich in content in both breadth and depth and explains a complex binary system with such clarity. They just don't make publications of this kind anymore. Because the publication made the German educational system so accessible for me, I was one of the few evaluators who did not mind taking on cases from Germany, despite all the shina they often came with. Yes, I am dating myself and Karen too. This was the pre-Bologna era, where consolidated information in the form of transcripts were atypical. I was also able to apply what I understood to other educational systems, especially where it came to technical and vocational education and 12 versus 13-year systems. Again, it gave me confidence to take on the educational systems of the Brits and the French, and that's a big deal. Later on, Karen became a contributor to Volume 1 of the New Country Index, and she also served as content editor for Volume 2. I appreciated that opportunity to learn from and work with her again. Producing a publication such as the New Country Index felt gargantuan to me, and yet she was impressively knowledgeable and systematic in her approach. The project slowly became less daunting. For those who know Karen, her contributions to the field are not limited to these instances. In addition to having served as Assistant Director of Admissions at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, she was also highly active in the field, having held offices. Among the many examples, her notable ones include having served as a member of the NCAA Student Records Committee, a member of the World Education Series Committee at ACRO, as chair of the National Council on the Evaluation of Foreign Educational Credentials, and as NAFSA Region 4 ADSEC chair. Yes, our field likes acronyms. Also, her presentations and publications are numerous. Karen's influence and contributions to the field are undeniable. I will forever be grateful for her influence, and I'm so gratified to witness her induction into TAICEP's Hall of Acclaim. Thank you. Karen, I didn't know if you want to say a few words.
There, I just got it muted. Thank you so much, Emily. It's always been such a pleasure working with you. You are such have become such a leader in the field, and I'm just so proud of you. And thank you for your very kind words about my Germany publication. I just wanted to, mention that, I started in this field in the mid 1970s. I did retire about 5 years ago, but I'm very happy to see that TAICEP exists, that you have your own professional organization for credential evaluators. I was very much involved with ACRO and NAFSA and their admissions sections and so on, which were, very, very helpful for me. I'd like to just say how I got into this field. Oh, by the way, my name is misspelled. It's Lukas. But I just wanted to mention how I got into this field and how I unwittingly sort of started preparing for this field very early on in my life, and really was kind of surprised to end up where I ended up. After I earned my bachelor's and master's degrees at the University of Minnesota, I immediately went to Europe. And long story short, I wound up living in Germany for 2 years and started becoming familiar with German culture and language, which eventually became very important later on, because all the books that I worked on had something to do with the German language and German culture. Also, while I was, thank you, that was quick. Also, while I lived in Europe, I began working for an adult high school completion program attached to the U.S. military located in Neu-Ulm, Germany. In this position, I coordinated a self-study required for NCAA accreditation. And that preparation, learning how American educators look at quality of education, was always an experience that I found very helpful when I was looking at foreign credentials and foreign educational systems. So then I returned to the United States. I started working in the admissions office, and the woman who handled international admissions retired shortly after that. And I applied for and got her position. I started, by reading the books on the shelves and talking to the clerical worker. I really didn't know how to evaluate foreign credentials. And I'm sure some of you would be amused to find that the first credential I tried to evaluate was from Switzerland, which I could read, but I had no idea what it meant. I, immediately started working. I started getting involved with ACRO and NAFSA and meeting so many wonderful people who were very, very helpful. Lots and lots of people. I stand on many, many shoulders in terms of, learning about the field and starting to become involved in a lot of activities related to the field. With regard to the German publication, that was always sort of my, as with everybody, I think, in the world, watching the Berlin Wall fall, just, amazing, was just amazing to all of us. And I was, very, very interested in following that and, and being able to, I did write a very quick summary of the old East German educational system, which they wanted for people in ACRO, I believe it was ACRO or NAFSA, wanted to just document that. But it was very hard to keep people talking about the old system. This was in about 1990 when I was there, because they all wanted to talk about the new system. And eventually, when I did my research on the German educational system, which was about 10 years later, it was about 10 years into reunification, and many, many, many changes have occurred in the German educational system since then. With one of the problems with books is that it's very hard to update them, and that is the beauty of Acro Edge and some of the electronic databases like the NARIC database in the UK. Those can be immediately updated, which I think was a wonderful addition to the field. So I remember talking with Cliff Sjogren, who was the one who encouraged me to volunteer for the NCAA Foreign Student Records Committee. People like Jim Fry have been a mentor to me, who's been very, very helpful. And I even got the honor of monitoring his World Education Series volume on Iraq. So with that, again, thank you very, very much, Emily. I really appreciate all your kind words, and I really enjoyed working with IERF back then.
Congrats, Karen, and thanks, Emily, for the introduction. All right, so with that, we wrap up. So Jasmine, Ken, Emily, Cliff, Michelle, Maxine, Becca, and Karen, thank you so much for your contributions over the past years, decades, half centuries. You really provide a foundation for the work we do, and everything that you have contributed, your years of service have really expanded the profession and further professionalized the field for all of the evaluators. So if everybody can join me in a round of silent applause, thank you again for everything that you've done and will continue to do. So that concludes our induction ceremony. So more information will be posted on the TAICEP website soon. this doesn't really end though. So each year we have a new class that's inducted. So if any of you attending have colleagues or mentors that you think are deserving for this recognition, don't hesitate to let us know. We'll go ahead and stop the recording now, but all of you are welcome to stay and mingle, share some stories from the past. But thank you all for attending and hope you all have a good rest of your day.